So guys, today back for another video on the channel. Today we're going to be doing keep or sell for the Newcastle United squad for the 2024-25 season. This is the squad going into next year. We're going to be doing every single player in the squad. Keep or sell. We'll have to go through it out. Obviously if I put them in sell, it might be a loan situation, but there's not many. Newcastle United have got a lot of players who need to be out the door. We've got some players who we definitely need to keep. It's a massive summer for Newcastle United. Bit of a rebuild needed. Need to get rid of some of the dead wood, but we're going to be doing it in a tier list form. If you could leave a like, boys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It would mean a lot if you could do so. Anyways, lads, we'll go from position, from goalkeeper to striker, and we'll start off with all the goalkeepers. So starting off with the goalkeepers, I'm starting with the number one at the minute, Martin Dubravka. Came in since December for Nick Pope. He's been disappointing, hasn't he? Letting some bad goals, cost us some points this season, and overall, not being the Martin Dubravka that we had back in 2019. So for me, I think we need to cash in and sell him. Carrier's contract is up. He came in for a backup option because Caldolo got injured, and at the time of not last season, the season before, we only had Nick Pope as a goalkeeper. All of them were gone. Obviously Dubravka was out on loan. Cavias came in. He's played 2 games for the club, one of the most important ones in recent history, the final, because Nick Pope got sent off, and then Arsenal away where he couldn't really do much. Looks like he will be going, so he will be getting sold or getting a free transfer, getting gone. Mark Gillespie now obviously hasn't really played for the club. Obviously played in Australia, saved the penalty against Spurs, and it was a nice moment for him. Obviously playing for boyhood club, and it does look like he will stay. And if he's good for the dressing room, good for the lads and whatnot, and yeah, I'd keep him. He's honestly got the best job in the world, hasn't he? He goes and trains with a club that he's watched as a little boy, and then just gets to travel around the world and watch Newcastle United. It is good, and he hasn't really had a fair crack at the whip, so you can't really say if he's good or not, but I'd keep Mark Gillespie, like. And then Nick Pope, our final goalkeeper. Obviously there's been a lot of links. Apparently he could be getting sold. People betting that we should be signing a new goalkeeper. I think Nick Pope's one of the best shot stoppers in the league. He's not great with his feet, don't get us wrong, we all know that, but shot stopping wise, he's probably one of the best in the league. And we got him for so cheap. I think it'd be so harsh if we just did sell him. So for me, if you're going to bring in a goalkeeper, you've got to make it fair and keep the competition going, and then keep Gillespie, then get one of the youngsters as 4th choice. There's no point keeping Dubravka if we're going to sign a keeper. So for me, we sell 2, we keep 2, and then we potentially sign 1. Right then, we'll start off with doing right backs now. Starting off with Kieran Trippier. Had a disappointing season at the club. Obviously, the 22-23 season, obviously, to get us Champions League football, he was absolutely sublime. Even the season just gone, he got 10 assists, which is still absolutely amazing. I think he got that 10th assist back in December, but he struggled in the second half of the season, got an injury, which obviously affected him for the whole season, for the rest of the season, I should say. And obviously he is aging a bit, getting about, I think it's 33, 34 now. I think it's probably time for Tino starting to get a lot more game time, but I think he is really good up here, mentally in football. I think he's really good to have around the dressing room. So for me, I'd keep Kieran Trippier. I can't see him leaving, and even if someone did come in for him, we're not going to get much money for him. So for me, I'd keep Kieran Trippier. Tino Livramento is a no-brainer. We're going to keep Tino. It's as simple as that. He's probably going to be the right back for the next 5-6 years, potentially even longer. But I think for Tino now, we just need to run the games going, because yes, it's good and all playing him out of position and whatnot, but he needs to be playing right back every week, and he needs to constantly play, because that's the only way you're going to get good. Tino's a one. Obviously he will stay. No one's going to come in for him, and if they do come in for them, it's going to be rejected. Emil Kraft, his contract was meant to be run up at the end of the season. Sign a new contract. Personally, I would sell him if we can get the money for him. He's a player that's in the squad now who, if we are going for Europe and top 6 and top 4, I don't think he's good enough. I really, really don't. He had that good spell when Trippier got injured in the 21-22 season, and then this season he's had the odd game there and there, but you can see the amount of times opposition teams are targeting Emil Kraft, and it's a bit scary. So for me, I think if the right money comes in, even if someone does come in for him, I'd sell Emil Kraft. Now on to left back, starting off with Matt Target, who's had such a disappointing season. Start the season, couldn't really get a game. Dan Burn was playing at left back week in week out. Then we signed Lewis Hall, who was a very promising player. Got injured against Manchester United away. and I think he's been on the bench once since then, and then never been seen since. He's missed pretty much the whole season, and I don't think he's probably started a game. So I think Matt Targett will be gone. I don't think we spend too much money on him. On loan when he signed, he was absolutely sublime. He really was. Came in on a permanent transfer, and Dan Burn took that left back position, but hasn't really had a fair chance. But I think it is time for Matt Targett to find a new football club. Paul Dummett, obviously I think Eddie Howe came out and spoke after Australia. Obviously I think if you did get Europe, obviously we could sign more players, but it does look like Paul Dummett will be gone. He's pretty much his whole career at Newcastle. He spent one loan spell out being a Geordie boy, but I think it is time for him to move on. I can't see him getting into the Newcastle squad anytime soon. Obviously if we do sign players as well, I can't see him getting in the squad, so I'd sell Paul Dummett. Lewis Hall's a keep. Obviously we've got him on loan. There's not been confirmed yet about him getting officially signed, but he's been absolutely sublime. He's been absolutely sensational. Honestly, towards the end of the season is why we even got a sniff of chance of getting Europe. Obviously we didn't get Europe in the end, but he came on against West Ham at home where we were getting beat, put his absolute arse in, grafted his bollocks off, got that win, and since then he's playing week in week out and really performed and totally deserves game time, playing for the tune. He's been absolutely magnificent at the minute. I'd keep him absolutely. And then Matt Ritchie, it's a sad one. He's been at the club since 2016. My favourite player in the Championship. And then over the years, it's petered out. And obviously, it was nice for him to score last season against Bournemouth. First goal in 4 years in the Premier League. He's good for the dressing room, but I think if you want to keep playing football, because obviously it looks like he's one of them that's going to be going to the management. It looks like I'd get rid of him and let him enjoy his career and play for another football club, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with Matt Ritchie, but his contract is up at the end of the season. I can't see him staying. Right now, centre backs, we'll start off with Dan Burn. Obviously played at left back for last season, struggled, shouldn't be a left back. When we've had the injuries with Lascelles and Botman, Dan Burns went into centre half and really looked the part. Obviously I don't think he's really had a bad game since going centre half. At left back, Bournemouth at home, Luton at home are the reasons why we haven't got European football, and Dan Burn was at left back for both them games, and all the goals came from that side. It was a real struggle around that time being a Newcastle fan, but at centre half he's a brilliant leader, being captain towards the end of the season, and I'll keep him for centre half, a squad player next season. Jamal Lascelles, obviously he is out with an injury, ACL for 6 or 9 months, same as Van Botman, but obviously no team's going to come in for him. He's still the club captain and he will stay at Newcastle United, so Jamal Lascelles will stay. Fabian Shaw's a no-brainer. He will stay at Newcastle United. Will he start as many games next season? We'll have to wait and see, but I think he's turning 33 this year, I want to say, but probably been one of our best players last season, so he does start. And then Sam Botman, obviously he is injured. He's the same situation with Lascelles. No team's going to come in for him because obviously he's injured. He will stay in Newcastle. Hopefully he can come back to his best, because it's been a disappointing year for him with that injury, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But he's been a brilliant player for Newcastle United. I just hope he can come back fit as ever. Right then, now on to the midfield. Starting off with Joe Willock, and it's a tricky one. He's constantly injured. He's on the wage bill. Personally, if the right money comes in, I would actually sell Joe Willock. It's disappointing to say that. I think we need better. We need better in midfield. We've got better in Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton. He's been a brilliant servant for this football club, Joe Willock, but I think if the right money does come in, I would get rid, but I can't see him leaving personally, but I think if the right money comes in, I'd sell Joe Willock. Joe White's been with most of the squad since Crew. He's a Geordie lad. I've put him in the tier list. I would send him out on loan for the whole season, a bit like what Elliot Anderson done. He's probably better than League 2. I'd probably get him to a League 1 team and getting some game time. So for me, Joe White, League 1 football. And then Lewis Miley got injured during the international break in March. Was a bit of disappointing news with England, but he'll be back ready than ever. I think he's going to be a future Newcastle captain. Obviously, Yes, he is 17. Yes, we've got to protect him. He should not be playing as many games next season, but we've seen how comfortable and how calm and how brilliant he actually is for Newcastle. So for me, Lewis Miley stays for the club. Sandro Tonali, obviously he's only played 8 games for Newcastle. No team's going to come for him because obviously he can't even play until the 27th of August. He will stay at Newcastle next season. It's a massive season for him to rebuild his career. Definitely stay for Tonali. Elliot Anderson's another one. I feel if a loan came in, the right loan, maybe he's like a Leeds United, a team like who's pushing for the top of the Championship, could help. But I think with Newcastle needing a big squad in general, and if we are going to get rid of a lot of deadwood in the squad, yes, I'd keep him. But I think if the right loan move does come in for Elliot Anderson, I'd send him out on loan. Probably not to another Prem team. Could work, maybe to like a Southampton, or Leicester, or Brentford, but I can see him staying in Newcastle. So Elliot Anderson's in the keep. Longstaff's another one. I think if a team does come in for him, which I think is going to be very unlikely, I think I would get rid, because I think he's not good enough for where Newcastle United want to be going to, Champions League football for the title. With us not European football next season, we need to push the league and we need to make sure we do well next season. Players like Longstaff, who had a really disappointing year, scored a lot of goals, don't get us wrong, and I think he does get a lot of stick where sometimes he doesn't. Yes, sometimes he is a bit slow and whatnot, but he's not as bad as what people make out to be. Not a chance. So I'd keep Longstaff. If the right move comes for him, I would probably let him go, but Geordie lad, he probably will stay. Joe Linton, I think it's the most easiest one. He is going to stay. No team's going to come for him. He's on a big wage now, big new contract, and he is going to be in Newcastle till 2026 or 7. I can't remember. Maybe I can't remember how long his contract is, but he's in the peak of his career. Back from injury next year is a massive one for Joe Linton. Hopefully he can stick through, stay injury free, and push on for next season. Bruno G, it's obvious we want to keep him. Obviously this release clause, I think it's valid until the 30th of June, which is still scary. We're pushing into June now. Teams will want to be getting Bruno's signature, but it's not got nothing to do with the club. It's all down to Bruno. If he wants to stay at the football club, he will. No European football might affect it, but for me, I think Bruno will. 85% say he will stay, 50% say he won't stay, but we all know we want to keep him, so that's why he's in the keep section. Now on to the forward player, starting off with Jacob Murphy. Provided a lot of assists this season. I think he will stay at the football club, but I think this probably will be his last year at the club. I can't see him staying for much longer. He's been a great servant in recent years, but I think next season's either push or go. He's either got to have a brilliant year in Newcastle, or I think it's time to let him go. But this year's not been too bad. Probably will go to go right winger. Obviously the shoulder injury didn't help, but scored some good goals, scored some crucial goals, and he will stay. Miggy Almiron, disappointing year, really disappointing. Obviously I think everyone knows my thoughts on Almiron. Not a fan, don't think he should play for Newcastle, and I've put him in the sell. I think we've got to let him go. He's got to go. Apparently he's saying he wants to stay and whatnot. He is not good enough for Newcastle. Yeah, I'll get rid, gone. Harvey Barnes needs to have a big year next year if he wants to relive his career. Obviously this year's been a disappointing one for Harvey. Scored some important goals. The one against Brentford to get a 1-0 up. West Ham double. Luton to bring it back 4-4. He's been good in games. Just I think I've said since he came back from injury he needs to run the games, and I think being behind Anthony Gordon, it's going to be hard for him to get into the team. So we'll have to build a system to try and get Harvey Barnes in, or he's just going to be a squad player for the rest of his time at Newcastle. But obviously I'd keep Harvey Barnes. Anthony Gordon, the most biggest, easiest keep ever. Player of the year. Sublime season for Anthony Gordon. He goes in, he stays at the club. And then two strikers, starting off with Callum Wilson. I'd get gone. As harsh as it sounds, he's picked up 5 injuries this year, lads, and we're a team pushing for top 4 next year. Like, it sounds daft. We can't be having players who are getting injured that much, and it's not down to the likes of Joe Linton got a big injury this year, Miley got a big injury, Botman, Lascelles. He's been in and out of the squad way too much, and for me, he can't stay at this football club being that injured. We've got to sign a big striker to go with Isaac. So for me, Wilson to sell. And then finally ending off the video with Alexander Isak. Obviously teams want his signature. It's going to take a lot of money to get him gone, but the amount of goals he scored this year, so crucial, so class. Alexander Isak is going to stay in Newcastle, hopefully. And there we go, boys. That is the end of the keep or sell. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who would you keep? Who would you sell? They're my thoughts. That's yeah. I've made the tier list on the tier list maker. Type it in on Google. Type in Newcastle United keep or sell, or go on my profile, BinksNUFC. Do it yourself. Send us on Instagram. Make sure to leave a like, boys. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all in the next one. Newcastle!